Welcome guys, today we're gonna talk about 10 underrated fantasy books.
Sorry, I think this is kind of like MySpace.
Oh, sorry.
My channel.
Do you wanna join?
Yeah, thank you. So welcome guys, and especially welcome Larry of Viking, who made the best effort to be here with all of us, and thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. She has the cutest dog ever. I mean, I love the EO so much.
She is great. But don't forget to check out the video that we just released in Johan's channel, Library of a Viking, because in that video we're talking about 10 books that we believe are worth the hype.
It's on my channel now.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Cool.
So BookTube tends to talk about the same books time and time again. And today we wanted to bring you something slightly different. And these are books that we really love, but that we believe are not talked about as much.
Okay, the first book we think is underrated, and to be fair, a lot of booktubers talk about this book, but it's still underrated. The Winning Flame Trilogy by Jen Williams. An absolute, I'm not sure you can call it a modern classic. It's very fresh, it's very innovative, it has accessible writing style, and one of the weirdest world buildings I've come across in a long time. But it's just all addictive, and if you love pet companions,
yeah,
these are probably one of the best pet companions I've come across in fantasy ever.
It's very character driven, but it has such a weird, great mix of horror and sci-fi, and you basically need to figure out what is happening in this world, so it's not given to you. So it needs a little bit of patience, but then it really delivers, it really lands, and absolutely a gem.
It is, yeah.
Can you just throw it there so that... Great.
I'm not gonna throw books.
Throw it there! Another author that we believe it's very underrated, and particularly I absolutely love this book. It's one of my favorite standalones of all time. That is Adrian Tchaikovsky, and in this case we have Guns of the Dawn. This is a Pride and Prejudice kind of story, but if you throw a main character into war, so that is very unique. It is a very good portrait of war and the aftermath of it, and it's just very good beginning to end. Very low in fantasy, so very accessible, I feel.
The range that Adrian Tchaikovsky is able to write in is incredible, and he posts like 3, 4, 5 books a year. So he writes just as fast as Bernard Sanderson. So I've actually had quite a mixed experience with Adrian Tchaikovsky, but I'm reading Children of Time at the moment. I'm halfway through it, and it is so good. So it feels like this is finally going to be a book I'm absolutely going to love, and this one is definitely on my TBR.
Yes! You should throw it. Throw it.
Another book that I think is very underrated, and it might be because it's self-published or whatever, at least more people are starting to pick it up, but that is Voice of War, or the whole Threadlight series by Zach Argyle. Now, if you enjoy Mistborn, then this is definitely a good recommendation because it has a hard magic system. But one thing that I loved about this series is that we have a protagonist that has literally just become a dad.
Okay.
And we also have the mother in the picture.
That's
so
unique.
You don't often see, new families in a conflict. So I thought that was very unique.
Agreed.
And all 3 books are short, so they're like 300 to 350 pages. So the whole trilogy is like 1,000 pages or something. So
manageable.
If you want to read 3 books in relatively short time when it comes to fantasy, then check out the Threadlight series. It's very good.
Yeah, you convinced me. It's definitely on my TBR now.
Yeah,
so
excellent.
The Drowning Empire.
A book that I didn't particularly enjoy.
Yes. The next book, we don't necessarily agree, but it is underrated. It's one of my favorite series, and that is The Drowning Empire by Andrea Stewart. This is very unique as well, so I can 100% understand how this is not for everyone, but it is a blend of fantasy, sci-fi. It has some elements of horror, and the world, it's so massive. There are different points of view scattered across the land, and there's a hard magic system that it's creepy as hell, but I loved it, and also animal companions that grant you powers, so that is pretty cool.
Yeah, the animal companion in this one was definitely memorable. I don't know if I was just in a weird state of mind when I read this one, but I just never felt immersed in this book. But after having finished it, I felt like I should have loved it. So I feel like it's a book I need to reread, and maybe I would love it, because The Ninth Reign, I didn't enjoy the first time, then I reread it, and now it's one of my favorites. So this might also be the case for this one, but yeah, so many people love this one, and definitely check it out.
There's hope.
The next one is the first book in the Title trilogy, The Bone Chips by R.J. Barger. So I've also recently made a full video about this trilogy because I think it does have quite a steep learning curve. But if you're looking for some unique world building, then this is the series for you. I mean, it has massive sea dragons, it has like reverse gender roles, it is set in a world that is almost covered 100% with water or the ocean, it doesn't have any trees. There's just so many weird things about this trilogy, and the writing style is quite hard to get into because R.J. Barger, he has created so many new words, so it can be quite difficult to get into, but I found it very rewarding and very innovative. So yeah, definitely deserves a bit more love on BookTube.
Would you consider this to be like an intermediate fantasy kind of story?
Yeah, and if you are not used to reading much English, then this can be quite hard. Yeah, as I said, a lot of the words are not even English, they're just like created words for the world building. Yeah. But yeah, as soon as you get into it, maybe 100, 200 pages, I think most of you will start to enjoy it.
The next trilogy, it's also concluded, and I feel that I always recommend this on my channel, but it's just, I am not sure if I can stop, and that is The Aurelian Cycle by Rosaria Munda. If you've enjoyed Fourth Wing, then you need to read this. If you have hated Fourth Wing, then you need to read this. Do you see where I'm going? Like,
so I should read it.
You should, definitely. It's military academic setting, it also has dragons, but the politics that are involved are really interesting. It's kind of like basing the story on this Platonic society, and they're just figuring out what the hell they need to do. And it's very unique. I felt really seen by one of the main characters, and it is very good. Yeah,
I feel like I should read it because yeah, I watch Isa's content, and this book is mentioned like every second video. So.
Fair. Okay.
Oh, do you want me to throw it?
No. Oh yes, throw it.
Alright, the next book I feel is underrated. It's actually a trilogy that was originally self-published and now has recently been traditional published. Is The Combat Codes by Alexander Darwin. Now, I was very surprised with this one because I expected it to be alright, but not amazing. But maybe it was just like right timing when I picked it up. But I just felt it was very addictive, it was very fast-paced, it had a real underdog. I love a good underdog in my stories. And I think the overall setting of having like a world where the kingdoms are in conflict, but instead of going to massive wars, the conflicts are settled over duels. So you have people that train their whole lives to settle conflicts, and then yeah, you put two fighters in, and whoever wins that conflict. So have a warrior from each country, and they fight it out, and then whoever wins gain that piece of land. It makes sense. It's a way to like reduce the cost of lives. So I felt it just, yeah, it has a good meta trope, good underdog, and very fast paced.
Do you want
just drink water? Sound like a grandpa.
I really like it.
Yeah.
The next trilogy, it's perfect if you love Brandon Sanderson, and that is the Powder Major trilogy. Now, I've only read the first book, Promise of Blood, but this was one of my favorite books last year. It is set in this flintlock subgenre of fantasy, and it is very unique how the usage of gunpowder and magic, it's just blended. It has incredible magic system, 3 different layers, hot magic, and there's also a fair amount of humor, which I'm not sure if you will like, but there are different points, like very political, war-driven, and mysterious, detective-esque. I felt it is a very rounded book, and although it is more known, I feel this has passed. Like, people talked about this trilogy a while ago, but for some reason, booktubers are not mentioning this book now, and I feel this needs to come back.
Yeah. And this is actually a series I want to start this year, because I haven't read many flintlock or steampunk fantasies, but the ones I have, I've always really enjoyed the world building because it just feels fresh and innovative and different. And this is, yeah, an iconic series within the flintlock steampunk kind of subgenre, so definitely need to give this one a go. And the Broken Binding are also making special editions of this one, so I feel like I need to read it. And the last book is a book we both have read. I enjoyed it a bit more than I think Isa did, but that is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. Now, let me make it clear, this is not an underrated book when you think about like how many copies have been sold and so on. But on BookTube, I think generally Neil Gaiman isn't being talked as much as he deserves on BookTube, because he writes some beautiful stories. They're all standalones, which might be a reason why there isn't as much to discuss. But yeah, Neverwhere, it takes place in a like alternative London underground, and yeah, it's just very fun, addictive, and good characters. I really enjoyed it.
Agreed. The only reason why it's not my favorite here, it's because I felt that it was very complex to connect with the characters, but the villains of this story, I think it's one of the best ones that I've read. Like, they were savage, and they were very, very unique. I really like Neil Gaiman. It's a genius.
It's always like magical when you read Neil Gaiman. It feels like reading. I always compare it to Narnia. But now you're an adult.
Yes,
like, it gives you the same vibe.
Yes.
So
100%. So these were 10 fantasy books that we believe are really underrated and hyped. Let us know which books you believe also deserve more love. And don't forget to check out the other video we made on Johan's channel, Library of a Viking.
Oh, there's one other book that is underrated. Fourth Thing by Rebecca Yarros. That's a joke. But in honesty, I didn't enjoy this book. I don't understand why it's so hyped. So, but if you enjoy sexy dragons, pick up this one.
Okay, you happy?
Yeah, very happy.